Okay, year 8, we're going to look at finding the length of the hypotenuse in a right angled triangle using Pythagoras' theorem. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is to copy the heading down, copy these questions down, leave some room for the working out, and then we'll start the questions. So you can pause the video now. Actually, just copy this bit down here first. Okay, so first question says, write Pythagoras' theorem for the following triangles. So we're just going to practice a few questions writing out the formula before we actually find the length of the hypotenuse in question 2. Okay, so here's our right angle triangle. Now, I've got three sides, A, B and C. The longest side here is always opposite the right angle. That is your hypotenuse. Okay, we always label the longest side C, which is opposite the right angle. The other two sides are A and B. So Pythagoras' theorem for the first one is just going to be A squared plus B squared is equal to C squared. Okay, now what if they change the letters? They put different letters on there. So let's do the same process. The side which is opposite the right angle, that is your hypotenuse. Okay, that's the longest side, and we always label that C. The other two sides, A and B. Okay, so you write the formula down. A squared plus B squared is equal to C squared. Now, because I've used different letters, we're going to replace the A, B and C with the correct letters. So A is K, so we get K squared. B is M, so that's M squared. And C is P, so that's P squared. Okay, so that's your final answer there. Alright, so you've got to use the letters in the diagram. Just remember the last letter that you use at the end of the equal sign there, that is the hypotenuse, the longest side. Okay, last question. Here we've got a right angle triangle. Now remember, the side opposite the right angle is the hypotenuse. Okay? So if you were to name that side, you could say the hypotenuse is LN or NL. You would describe that side there with the two capital letters. Okay? That's if they've got capital letters on there. Now, we've got to write down the formula for Pythagoras' theorem using these letters. So we'll start off with labelling the longest side little c, the other two sides little a and little b. Now I can write down the formula again for Pythagoras' theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. But I've got to replace a, b and c with the letters l, m and n. Now, side A is LM. So here I'm going to put LM squared. Side B is MN. So that's MN squared. And side C is a hypotenuse. That's LN squared. Okay? Now you could, of course, put the letters in a different order. I could have written this or ML squared plus NM squared equals NL squared. That's also correct. Alright? So that's the first three triangles with Pythagoras' theorem written underneath each triangle using the letters in the diagram. And make sure all that's copied down into your book. We're going to look at question 2 now. We're actually going to find the length of the hypotenuse in these two questions. So I'd like you to copy this down, leave some room for the working out like I have underneath this. And we're going to use the formula for Pythagoras' theorem to find the length of the unknown side here. Okay, so let's start off with labelling the triangle. Now the side opposite the right angle, that is a hypotenuse. Alright? We're going to label that C. C is always the hypotenuse. The other two sides are A and B. So step 1 is label the sides A, B, C. C is always the longest side, which is the side opposite the right angle. Now, step 2, write down Pythagoras' theorem. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Now, the M in this diagram stands for meters. We're actually going to write down A, B and C without the units. We're not going to put the meters in there. So here for A, I'm going to put 6 squared. I'm not going to put the meters, I'll do that at the end. Plus, B is 8 meters, but I'm just going to put 8. I'm not going to worry about the M. C is X meters, and again, I'm not going to worry about the meters there. I'm just going to put the letter. Okay, so I've got to use the numbers and the letters from the diagram. Now, 6 squared is 36, 8 squared is 64, X squared stays as it is. Now, 36 plus 64 is 100. X squared stays as it is. Now, you want to get what X is. You don't want X squared, you want X. So you actually want to get the length of X. Now think back to what's the opposite of squaring. It is square rooting. So I'm going to square root that, and what I do to one side of the equation, I must do to the other. So think back to equations. You must always do the same operation to both sides. Now, the square root cancels out the power of 2, so it's just X by itself now. The square root of 100, well, you can get your calculator for that. Press the square root button, press 100, equals, and you get 10. So X equals 10. Now don't forget it's meters here, so I put meters at the end there. Okay, so X equals 10 meters, so that length is 10 meters. So just going through those steps again, label the sides A, B and C. Longest side is always C, opposite the right angle. Write down Pythagoras' theorem. Then you substitute the numbers and the letters into Pythagoras' theorem. Then you solve that equation. So you evaluate 6 squared plus 8 squared, which is 100. Take the square root of both sides, and you get what the length of the hypotenuse is, which is 10 meters. Okay, so I'd like you to copy all that down, and you can pause the video if you like and have a go at the second question, or you can wait for me to do this one. Okay, so I'm going to label the sides A, B and C. Now remember, the longest side opposite the right angle is always C. The other two sides, the shorter ones, are A and B. So you always put the C as the longest side first. Then I write down Pythagoras' theorem again. There it is. Now I'm going to replace the letters here with the correct numbers. Now notice this is 50 centimetres for A. I'm just going to write down 50 squared. I'm not going to put the centimetres until the end. Makes the working out easier. B is 36. And again, the centimetres I'm going to leave out. 36 squared there, so make sure you put the powers of 2. C is K, so I'm going to put K squared. So just check you've got 50 squared plus 36 squared equals K squared. Now on your calculator, you could actually put that whole thing in there. You could actually go 50 squared plus 36 squared equals. That gives me 3,796 equals, and you've still got to write down the K squared because you haven't done anything with that. Now, to get rid of that power of 2, we have to use the square root. That cancels it out. You do the square root to both sides. Now, that gives you K equals. Now, if you work this out on your calculator, I'm just going to leave it as square root for the time being. 3,796, and that is centimetres. Now, we could round this as well. So if you put this into your calculator, 3,796, it's not a whole number. Let's write it down to one decimal place. So 61.6. I'm rounding, so I've got to use the approximation symbol there. Now, I've got two answers for K. I did this deliberately. This is the rounded answer. This is the unrounded answer. Okay? So we're going to label this here as the approximate answer. Approximate answer. Now, if you leave it as the square root, that's called the exact answer. That's the exact answer. Okay? So if the question says find the exact answer and the square root doesn't simplify to a whole number, you leave it as a square root. Okay? If it says round the answer to one decimal place, then you write down this answer here. Okay? So if it says round, use that answer. If it says find the exact answer, then you leave it as a square root. Okay, now this square root is also called a surd. Okay? Some books will ask you for the surd answer. Okay, that means they want you to write it as a square root. Okay, don't forget the units, centimetres as well. Right, copy that down, and I'm going to give you 2 questions to do by yourself to see if you've understood it. Okay, so let's have a look. So for part C, there we go. Part C, actually we'll make this question 3. So find x correct to 1 decimal place. Okay, so we'll do this triangle here. Alright, and we'll make this 5 centimetres, 6 centimetres, and we'll call this X. Okay, that's the first one. So have a go at that question, and then I'll do one up here. Okay, find the exact length of the hypotenuse. Okay, so let's do a different one. So, no, let's try one of these ones. Okay. So exact length, I'm going to put 1 metre, 4 metres, and then we'll put this as K metres. Okay. I'd like you to copy down questions 3 and 4 and try those and see if you get the correct answer. So pause the video and then play the video to see if you get the right answer. Okay, so first thing to do, label the sides A, B and C. Right? Then write the formula down. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Now replace the numbers with the replace the letters with the numbers. So we're going to get A is 5, so you're going to get 5 squared plus 6 squared is equal to x squared. And add these up, so you're going to get 25 plus 36 equals x squared. It's going to be what, 55, 61 is equal to x squared. And then take the square root of both sides. Okay, so that's going to give you x is equal to, now get your calculator out, work out root 61. Square root of 61 is 7.8 to 1 decimal place. So 7.8 centimetres. And we rounded, so put the approximation symbol, which is a dot above and below the equal sign. Okay, make sure that's copied down if you didn't get the question right. Let's look at question 4. Same thing as before, we're going to label the sides A, B and C. So, now the longest side is always C. The other 2 sides A and B. Then write down Pythagoras' theorem. Okay? Now, replace the numbers. So A is 1, so we've got 1 squared. Plus B is 4, so 4 squared. C is K, K squared. Notice the metres, K metres, and I haven't put the metres in here, I'll do that at the end. Now, 1 squared plus 4 squared on your calculator, that's going to give you 17. Now the question says find the exact length. Now, square root. That gives you k equals, now if you get your calculator out, find the square root of 17, you'll see it's a decimal, alright? So it doesn't simplify to a whole number, it's a whole lot of decimals, so you're going to leave it as the square root. So when it says exact, they want the square root as the answer. So that's your answer, k equals root 17. Okay, that's it for today.